what you think about the bracket.
I thought it was great. I mean, I don't think there's any surprises that pop up in these brackets. I mean, you kind of put two and two together, you know, and you start to realize that there's only so many teams that they can put in certain places, and then after you see one bracket, start the process of elimination. By the time we got to our bracket, we kind of knew the whole bracket by then. I mean, so as I told everybody up there, there's no easy brackets. There's no one bracket that's harder than the others. There's no easy matchups. There's no somebody's got a tough road, somebody's got an easy road. It's just, you know, you go where you play. You go where they tell you, and you play who they tell you. It's been like that from day one.
Some roads are longer than others, though. You get another cross-country trip.
Well, yeah, that's 3 in a row. 2 of those. I mean, we're 1-on-1 out there, right? For those purposes, and I think the travel is going to be challenging. Let's hope we have the challenge of if we win, it's the longest trip back to Tampa of anyone else. You couldn't be further away, right? So let's hope we have that opportunity. Be a small price to pay.
The NCAA is going to still keep with that 2-site regional, I think, through at least 2028. Just what are your thoughts on now that you're third straight year going out west?
I don't mind going out west if there's also an option for people to go to see a game. So if you live anywhere from New York to St. Louis, how do you get to a game? I don't understand it, you know. So I've never been a big fan of just two places. And but you know, what's this, 25 and 3 more years of this? At least. Well, like I said, you got to do what they tell you to do.
What's your early report on Arkansas State?
They're in Arkansas.
State of Arkansas.
The state of Arkansas. That's the challenge of the teams you play in the NCAA tournament. A lot of teams you've played against already. A lot of teams you have a lot of film on already. But, you know, you get teams that are really good, that win their league, and they're really talented, and, you know, and what time is it? It's 9 o'clock on Sunday night. By 9 o'clock Monday morning, we'll know a lot about Arkansas State.
A lot of times you get teams you've seen before over and over again. 3 teams that are coming here, I'm sure you've never seen. You know, is it that exciting? What was the feeling when you're playing teams that you don't typically run into?
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. Everybody just assumes sometimes that you are going to repeat teams because it's happened so many times, but maybe that's a byproduct of only 2 regionals or something. I don't know. So distance of travel isn't as much of an issue. It's always good to see teams that don't know you and you don't know them. But when the game starts, you still have to play. And you still have to be better than them. And a lot of times it's just the kind of matchup that you're getting, you know. What kind of team, what's their style of play, blah, 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 blah.
Speaking of familiarity, if chalk holds, it would be a USC rematch with you all. Is that a matchup that you were hoping not to maybe have in an Elite Eight scenario, or what do you think of that potential rematch?
Well, I just think that there's a lot of different ways that you can go with that. You can say, I wish we didn't have USC out there in the way to possibly go into the Final Four. I wish we would somebody easy like South Carolina. Really? Or I wish we could play UCLA instead. Or we should play Texas instead. Like, no matter who who you end up playing is going to be a pain in the ass. That's all there is to it. You just hope to be in that game. But, you know, if you play a good enough schedule, you're always going to run into somebody that you've already seen. And if you're in the NCAA tournament enough times, you're going to get a repeat offender. So, yeah, I'm sure they're loving the chance of a rematch, but it's a long way down the road. It's a long way down the road.
Geno, as far as where your team is now, a lot of teams at this time of year talk about maybe flipping the switch and doing something to get going. It looks like you want to keep your switch right on where it is.
It's been the age-old question when you finish playing in the tournament, in your conference tournament, and you're playing really well. At least you think you're playing really well. You love nothing better than to go home on Monday night, take Tuesday off, and go play somebody on Saturday, and just keep it rolling and stay with the same routine that you've had. Unfortunately, it's the only time of the year where you get 13 days off or whatever it is, almost 2 full weeks where you don't play. So it's not ideal. You know, for anybody whose tournament finished last weekend, none of this is ideal. You know, players have no interest in practicing at this time of the year. Yes, for the NCAA tournament, it's a little bit different, but players just want to play games. And, you know, the trick is how do we keep everybody engaged during all this, you know, downtime before we play.
But
So
it
there's
helps
no flipping switch, you know. There's no flipping a switch. I think you want to. Now, if you're playing lousy and you got to flip a switch, then it might be beneficial. Or if we got an injury or two that you're trying to rehab, and that's beneficial. So that's it. That's what you got.
But it helps Aubrey. What's her
All right.
status? Is she
Yeah.
full go? Is she limited?
We'll see. Right now, we're waiting to get her back full in practice.
Is that more just rest still and soreness?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you're trying to get back into practice full after you've not practiced for 6, 7, 8 days, or whatever, it takes time. So we're hoping that, you know, tomorrow she can do more than today, and then the next day she can do more than that, and go from there.
Gene, is there something you see about this group that gives you as good a chance as you've had in the last few years to you know, make a run and grab another one of those? I know they're not easy to come by these days.
Yeah. It's been the last 4 years, you know, the 3 Final Fours that we've been to the last 4 years, we're all like with a big asterisk, you know, like, yeah, we're in the Final Four, but, you know, we don't have that guy, whatever the case may be. So what's different is we do have a lot of people available. We do have more options than we've had of any other team that's gone there the last 3-4 years. So that's a source of comfort to a certain degree, you know. Let's hope we can take advantage of it.
They talk about your team, and you mentioned the last time you won a national championship. Like there's some major thing wrong. It's been so many years since you've been there.
I know.
When's the last time you got into a tournament where that wasn't an issue? Where people are
Oh, it's always going to be an issue. Now it's, you know, the UConn watch, you know, how many years has it been? That's what happens when you win it too many times in too short a time. You set those expectations, and you almost become as big a story as the team who wins. You know, for a couple of years there, the headline was UConn lost, and by the way, so and so won the national championship. And that's okay, because you created that. You know, you didn't have to win all those, and you didn't have to win that many in that span of time. No, I just hope the players, you know, take it as a compliment. You know, there's no other way to take it, really. I mean, that's, you know, that's a testament to what we built.
I feel like Tiger Woods.
You know, it's funny you say that because, yeah, I'm a lot older than he is, and he's in not great shape, and, but we're in pretty decent shape, and so hopefully, you know, unfortunately, he doesn't get a chance to play much, or at least we get a chance to play.
If you could improve one aspect of your team's play entering the NCAA, what would it be?
Always in the NCAA tournament, you have to rebound better than you do during the regular season, because any extra possessions you give a really, really good team is eventually going to send you home. You have to be able to get stops at crucial times, and it usually comes down to your guards. You know, your guards have got to be able to help you get stops. And then lastly, like you can't work on, well, we got to make more shots. I mean, but you can work on things you can control. Like, we got to be better defensively. We got to rebound better. Okay? And we got to make sure that we don't put people in our guys in foul trouble and their guys on the free throw line. If we can do those three things, then the rest, you got to just cross your fingers and hope that, you know, the ball goes in.
Are turnovers a concern?
No. I mean, I think we're number one in the country in assist to turnover ratio. So turnovers are not an issue until they are. So you hope that it stays where, you know, the percentages, we play the percentages, and so far we've been pretty good. And I mean, heck, we come down the floor and we only pass it once. How the hell are we going to turn it over? You know, guys are so anxious to shoot it. What the hell? It's not a bad thing.
So what does it tell you about the Big East and the Ivy League got three, and the Big East only got two?
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's a big problem, and that's a problem that has to be addressed, and it needs to be addressed ASAP. And you know, I think teams like UConn, Creighton, you know, we for the last couple of years, you know, it was only 3 years ago that we got 5 in, or was it last year? No, it couldn't have been last year. Was it last year? It was 2 years ago. I think it was, maybe. Okay, but I know since we've been back, we have 5 in, which was great. So we go from 5 to 2. That's not good. So when we go to the Big East meetings, some of these things are going to have to be addressed. And they're not just, I think, women's basketball issues. I think those are big picture issues that involve the whole league.
An example? Like, do you have an example?
Well, I don't think our guys are happy with how it's turned out. You know, you look at some of these other teams, some of these other leagues. Maybe we don't get the respect we deserve. I don't know.